Welcome, it's Sam Roberts Now, because it's now. Welcome to Sam Roberts Now, ladies and gentlemen and peers and non-cisgender associated individuals of YouTube. Welcome to Sam Roberts Now. I hope that by now you've all signed up for the various social media platforms at Sam Roberts Now on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, so you can find out exactly when we're going live. I hope you're subscribed to this YouTube channel so you can find out when we're going live, because as much fun as it is to watch this show whenever it is that you watch it, it's even better to be a part of it live. I already see all the Not Samsonites are flooding this chat. Chris says Raw is tonight. I know Raw is tonight. That's why I'm doing the show now, so we can get off before Raw comes on. Doesn't interrupt my Raw time, doesn't interrupt your Raw time. There are things that I don't want to miss, and I will tell you, I walked into this weekend full well knowing that I wasn't going to feel as on top of it as normally I like to feel. That's what she said. See, I knew that I wasn't going to get to see Black Panther this weekend. And not that I really want to see Black Panther, and it has nothing to do with any socio-political implications, but I couldn't be more tired of superhero movies. There is nothing about them anymore that, like, I can't see a trailer for any of them that makes me feel like, oh, I want to see this. Oh, this is territory that hasn't been gone down before. Oh, I wonder. And then I go and I feel completely disassociated with all of them. Like, I can never quite make that connection. And I think it's because I feel like the whole thing is animated. Like, the same reason I don't really watch cartoon movies, because I don't feel connected with them. I can't lose myself in the reality of the film. Even if it's like a ridiculous, absurdist, nonsensical movie, if it's real people doing things that a person could do, I can trick myself into falling into it. But with superhero movies, because it's like, oh, the entire city, every single movie, at least an entire city gets destroyed. And not like a rural city. An entire giant urban metropolis gets destroyed. The type of destruction that you know would set us back as a country years. 9/11 was 2 buildings. We're still not fully recovered from that. You saw how long it took to put up the Freedom Tower, right? It took like 10 years before the Freedom Tower was finally up. The whole city gets destroyed, and then you go even further. Sometimes they just destroy planets, and it's like, well, the home planets of the heroes didn't get destroyed. That goes back to Star Wars. Like, at the end of the day, yeah, it's a happy ending, but they still blew up planets full of people. It's not that happy. So, I don't know, and the fantasy realm for me, same reason I couldn't really watch Lost. When I turned on, like, the first episode of Lost, I couldn't make it past the second episode. The minute I saw panda bears running through the rainforest, and I just go, oh, there's panda bears in the jungle, so I guess anything can happen here? Like, you can't even bother having a conversation about the show. Well, here's where I think they're going, because they could literally just decide at a moment's notice to go wherever they want. At that point, I don't know, I can't get into it. When I want to be able to say, well, they wouldn't do that because that wouldn't make sense. And when you establish that a show or a movie is a land where literally anything can make sense, I don't have fun with it anymore. Some people do. Some people are like, yeah, but I want to see how they're going to make it work within the realm of the narrative of the... Yeah, I'm not interested. And I see superhero movies that I enjoy. You know, I liked Guardians of the Galaxy just because, I guess, I don't know, the music was good. It was a new take on things. James Gunn does a good job. Guardians of the Galaxy felt to me like a guy had directed that movie. It felt to me like a person's hands were on that film. You know, a lot of these Marvel movies, or not just Marvel, I mean, the DC movies are terrible. Wonder Woman was a good one, I guess. But, like, I saw Justice League. That was an awful movie. And you just feel like, I don't like movies where it feels like a corporation has completely made the movie. All the Batman movies are great because they're Christopher Nolan movies, and they feel like Christopher Nolan made them. The Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I guess the reason they still work okay for me is because it feels like James Gunn made them. And I go, okay, yeah, I can get into this. I turned on Guardians of the Galaxy 2 about a week, I think last weekend. on Netflix. And I was perfectly fine never seeing it. Not because I don't like the franchise, but just because the genre I find exhausting. And I did actually enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy too. So, I'm not above enjoying a superhero movie. I'm just above ever getting excited about them coming out. But of course, Black Panther is for the culture. So you have to support Black Panther, right? But I knew I wasn't going to get to see it because it's my kid's first birthday. We had a whole weekend of stuff on Saturday. We had a big party that my wife put together, which is, I was annoyed by it because you have to spend all this money. It was the money that bothered me. I guess I didn't need to see all the people either, but and everybody knows, he's not even going to remember. Yeah, we know he's not going to remember. You don't throw a first birthday party for the 1-year-old. You throw a first birthday party for the family. And so, all the family got together, and it was a very nice party and everything. It really was just the expense. We really didn't need to do this. And then, Jess had to hire some weird storyteller. Any man that decides to do that as his profession, I'm gonna tell dramatic stories to children who don't really pay attention anyway, but I just like being around kids that much, is suspect, to say the least. This guy was in a purple paisley shirt, pants that were corduroy pants that were a little too tight for a kid's party, and a purple Willy Wonka top hat. And I'm going what's this guy? And then after we kind of wrapped him up pretty quick with his storytelling stuff, because the kids don't pay attention anyway. You could, regardless of how loudly you talk or how much you project or whether you do the little voices, whatever you want to do, a kid is going to lose his attention span, within moments. Even you'll have him for a couple of minutes. Sesame Street comes on, the kid is wrapped up in it. You turn Sesame Street on, and our 1-year-old will stare directly at the TV screen. But if Elmo leaves, the kid leaves too. He's not sitting there for the full 30-minute show. That's never happening. So if Sesame Street can't grab these kids' attention, I don't know why this guy in a purple hat thinks that he can do it. But he does it, and he's doing it. And then, after we wrap him up, Jess was so funny because she goes how many more do you think he should do? And I'm like, Jess, we can wrap him up whenever. I know we had to pay him, but let's just wrap him up. This is fine. 30 minutes is good. No more than 30 minutes. And Jess goes, okay, well, how are we going to do that? And I'm like, I don't know, Jess. That was your hire. And Jess, in a move of pure brilliance, he finishes the story that he's on, and he's like, thank you. And Jess just starts going, yeah, all right, thank you. Starts giving him the clap off. Gets the whole room to just applaud him off. You get it, you get it. And he left. It was brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, great job. Okay. Goodbye. Goodbye. And he walks off. It was perfect. But then he just kind of hung out. He just stayed there after he was done telling stories. If I don't even like going to parties where I know everybody. If I'm at a 1-year-old's birthday party and I don't know anybody, and I kind of get the vibe. So here's how weird the guy was. I'm sure the guy knows that people make fun of him. At one point, I have a friend who's got a 2-year-old daughter, and he's sitting right behind where the guy is telling the story. And I hear him tell his daughter, okay, you can go over and talk to the guy, just don't get touched. The guy's in earshot. The guy is fully aware that people think he might molest children. To the point where they're like, okay, don't get touched. It's just, and they don't care about saying it to his face, because what are you going to do about it? You're in a purple hat. But some of the family members that were invited to this thing were teenage boys, older teenage boys. And God bless them for putting up with this. I can't imagine being 14, 15. And these are cool kids. They're athletic. They wear Yeezys. They're cool kids. They didn't need to be there. It was nice that they were there, and they didn't act up. They didn't put up a fuss. They didn't curse about it. They just kind of sat there. They ate their food. They did their time. And then they left. And I was like, those are good kids. Because if I was 14, 15 years old, that's the last place in the world I would ever want to be. But the whole time, this story, and they had just come from they looked like they were wearing lacrosse shorts and sneakers or something. They looked like they had just come from some athletic thing. And so they're wearing athletic shorts, basketball shorts or something, and sneakers. And the whole time that this guy, this weirdo, is telling stories to the kids, he's taking shots at the teenagers. He's going like, he's like, and then the only people who couldn't escape the evil wrath of the witch were those silly boys who wear shorts in the middle of February. And I was like, what? Is he directly? Because throughout his stories, he would make little like local references. He would change his stories so they matched up with like the city he was in and the streets, like all kinds of little Westchester references he would add in to kind of. But in at least 2, if not 3 of his stories, he would take these jabs at the kids, at the boys that were sitting. But the boys could care less about this weirdo telling stories to kids. They were sitting there, as I said, quietly doing their time, looking at their table, eating their food, whispering to each other, but they weren't laughing at him. They weren't making fun of anybody. They weren't, making a mockery of the whole thing. They were just sitting there waiting for the afternoon to be over, which is really the best strategy you can have. But it's a pretty mature strategy to take. Like, that's a strategy that I take now at 34. At 14, at 15, I would have done bad stuff because I would have been bored. Not like terrible stuff, but just bad stuff. I would have embarrassed my parents. At 14, I mean, they wouldn't have, at least then they probably wouldn't have brought me to the next one, but I wouldn't have gotten punished for the things that I was doing, whether it was throwing food or cursing or like, putting inappropriate music on Spotify and playing it on my phone in the middle of the thing, like, whoa, we're just listening to music. Whatever it would be, I would do that because I would be so bored by this whole thing. But these kids were taking the mature approach. They were just sitting there and letting it happen. And all the while, this guy in a purple top hat is taking shots. They didn't answer him. I didn't notice them answering him. But I was like, what? And then I looked at my buddy who was there, who had just told his 2-year-old not to get touched. And he was like, yeah, he was taking shots at them the whole time. And I was like, what is this guy's deal? I never asked him because I couldn't tell if... Here's how it came across. And I don't know if you realize how bad this comes across. When you're a children's entertainer, the last thing that you want to do is shit on older kids for no apparent reason. Because it comes across one of 2 ways. These were the only 2 options in my head that I could figure out why this man was doing these things. Option number 1, he resents it when kids get older and, they're not little kids anymore, which is so creepy. So creepy. The idea that he resents it when kids go through puberty is like, whoa, dude. Because that's all these kids were doing, is living in a world where puberty had already started to take place. Their voices had changed. They probably sprouted some hair in places where there was no hair before. Their bathroom area was different than it was. The bathing suit area was different than it was, than it would have been when they were the age that they would sit there and listen to this guy tell a story. That's the only difference. They weren't acting up. They weren't being shitty kids. They were just sitting there. So either he resents the fact that they went through puberty, which is super creepy, or he's negging them. Or he read one of those pickup artist books and he's negging them. Either way, it's the creepiest thing you could do. A child performer, a children's performer, not a child performer meaning a child performing, but an adult man, older than me. A children's performer wearing purple, insulting teenage kids while trying to entertain young children is about as creepy as you could get, especially when these kids aren't doing anything. It'd be one thing if they were like flipping him off or like making fun of him and he had to get his jabs in. Then I would respect him. And I go, wow, he managed to stay in character, not lose his professionalism, but he didn't take any shit from these kids. I would love that. That is like, okay, we hired the right guy. But when the kids aren't doing anything and he's just kind of taking jabs at them, first of all, thank God that their parents didn't notice it. Because if I was their parent, like if it were my kid and I noticed the storyteller was doing that, I'd go up to him and be like, hey, what's the problem, buddy? You mad because you can't trick him into doing stuff anymore? What's the issue? What's the problem here? No, I just read something in a pickup artist book. I was just negging them. Really? That's what you were negging my kids. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe it's a whole game. Maybe the top hat is like a peacock move. I don't know. I've remember that show though, the guy Mystery? He looked like a kid's version of Mystery. Remember the pickup artist Mystery on that VH1 show? That's kind of what this guy looked like. Didn't he wear a purple velvet top hat? This guy had a purple velvet top hat on. I never understand why somebody would take that type of career path where all the adults in the room kind of look at each other like, yeah, you're seeing what I'm seeing, right? Like there's jokes about vans, unmarked vans, being told while he's still in earshot. Nobody respects him. And then he's like taking jabs at teenagers. I don't know. It's just, whew, somebody's saying, holy Christ, Sam, take a breath. Look, a lot happens, but that's why I wasn't able to see Black Panther. And there are people who are worried about Black Panther not being as good as people claim it is, because the claim is already that it's one of Marvel's best movies, right? That this is setting a new standard for Marvel films. And I guess the fans of those movies are like, but every movie's been so great. I like that first Iron Man movie, but not all the other Iron Man movies. They're all the same thing. Oh, this isn't a typical superhero. That's the issue. Like, there's not that big of a... The only difference between Chris Pratt and Guardians of the Galaxy and Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man is that I guess Robert Downey Jr.'s character is rich. They're both like quirky, asshole, funny guys, And I feel like every superhero movie that comes out, there's got to be that like, whoa, this isn't a superhero I'm used to. He's quirky and funny and silly. So it just feels like the same thing over and over and over again. What I didn't realize was missing Black Panther would be the least of my concerns, because today I missed the whole Blac Chyna tape release. I can't find the Blac Chyna video anywhere. Blac Chyna, who's the Robert Kardashian ex-girlfriend, I guess, the brother Kardashian. I guess they were dating, and she's like the mother of his child, right? And she is on the warpath, and her people are on the warpath because earlier today on like Twitter, somebody leaked a video of her blowing a guy. Somebody leaked a video of her going down on a dude, and everybody's got jokes about this thing. I didn't even see it. I didn't find out about it until it was already gone, and it seems like it was one of those tapes that actually leaked, not like a fake leaked tape where you go, oh, I didn't realize it was going to come out, and I'm really, really upset about it, but what are you going to do? But then tapes like this come out, and you're like, you can have it wiped out, because I can't find it. Have you guys found it anywhere? I can't find the tape anywhere, but I've heard that like she's blowing the guy and then she gets worried that he's going to finish on her, and there's all this stuff going on, but she's threatening to sue everybody. Malcolm from the North just super chatted to let me know if you Twitter search her name on Twitter, the video is very easy to find. Okay, but I feel like Twitter's deleting them so fast. Right before I did this, maybe I didn't spend enough time. I did some searching and I couldn't find it. It's also because people are sending in tweets commenting on this thing so quickly that it gets buried. Like I have to scroll through like, oh, she said that. And then because Blac Chyna is set, like everybody's searching that name now. People are like, Blac Chyna, check out my new record. Blac Chyna, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Blac Chyna, this is what I ate for dinner. Just so they can get in the search thing, because they feel like, oh, people are going to be searching for Blac Chyna, and then they're going to find my amazing content and realize, I didn't even remember I was looking for Blac Chyna because I found this amazing thing. But I did. I missed it. I missed it entirely. She is upset, though, and she says that it's very negatively affect her career, which I didn't know what the career was. I guess she had just signed a deal to be like one of those moms who make money for being a mom. Like Snooki turned her life around when she became a mom. Snooki stopped being like the girl who drank all the time and got punched in the face at bars and had a big hair poof and became, the woman who's on Instagram and podcasts and stuff going like, oh, I love this diaper genie. And people pay her a whole bunch of money to talk about their diaper genie, and then she sells it. Or like, look at my new maternity t-shirts, and people buy those. Like she became a professional mom, which good for her. I love that that's a thing. It should be. Because like Women especially go crazy looking at stuff like that on social media. Just normal people doing their thing. Like, they should be getting paid if they're getting that kind of exposure and influencing that many people, of course. And I guess Blac Chyna was trying to head that way. But her people are saying that this tape is going to stop all that. Look, that's ridiculous. That's a complete fabrication. Blac Chyna comes from the Kardashian world. I don't know. I think that the only reason that they are fighting this thing so hard and trying to get this video erased so much is because it wasn't their deal. The video didn't get out under their thumb. And because they want people to continue to search for it. Blac Chyna is in the Kardashian world. You cannot tell me that Blac Chyna looks at sex tapes being leaked as a negative thing. Nobody in the Kardashian world is going to look at sex tapes being leaked as a negative thing. The entire Kardashian world. Do you think if you found out E was going to do a show about the daughter of the guy who is dead now but represented OJ? Remember the Kardashian guy? He was OJ's attorney. Well, this is his daughter, and here's her reality show. No, it's not going to happen. Even when she was friends with Paris Hilton. Look, it's Paris Hilton's friend, whose dad represented OJ. You want to watch her reality show? No. You want to watch her have sex? Yes, please. Okay, now that I've seen that, I'd like to see everything this woman has to offer. The sex tape is what launched her. And it's done that for a lot of people. Honestly, the sex tape put Paris Hilton on a different level. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say, you have a sex tape, you're golden, because clearly Paris Hilton did not know exactly how to execute it. That's why she's sitting there DJing in Vegas clubs, trying to make ridiculous salaries for that. It's a little bit dehumanizing. You know, she's actually got to stand there and pretend she knows how to DJ. Kim Kardashian, on the other hand, is looked at as a mogul. Nobody looks at Paris Hilton's DJ business as being a mogul. They're not sitting there going like, oh, look at this. You know, people think Paris Hilton is stupid, but she's actually a great businesswoman. There are people that think the Kardashians are like these great business people, which they probably are. They've survived for a long time. They made Ryan Seacrest's career. People are like, oh, Ryan Seacrest, he's not only a great DJ, he's also a great producer. I mean, what has he done besides the Kardashians? He just jumped onto that bandwagon and strapped in. He's got an ironclad contract that keeps him associated. You don't think if the Kardashian mom was like, yeah, I'll produce this show. What does it take to produce the show? Now, especially. But Ryan Seacrest is the one that got it on the air, so good for him. But nobody in that world, who's anywhere near that world, is going to sit there and be like, oh my God, a sex tape. My career is over. It's, oh my God, a sex tape. How do we utilize this? Forgive my pun, but how do we milk this? Again, I'm sure based on what I've heard is on the sex tape, she doesn't want to hear anything about how anybody milks anything. But how do I milk this? That's 100% where Blac Chyna's at right now. Wow. Where do we go from here? Oh, somebody just, Eddie A. just tweeted me the video. Okay, let me see. Let me see what's going on here on this video that Eddie A. just tweeted. There it is. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I think we know what that sound is. Oh, my God. That is not PG. What did she say? She said, I want you to what? that is, I mean, that's when you know a sex tape is not meant to be leaked. When, and it really is. First of all, it's not a sexy sex tape. Blac Chyna's performance. If I could evaluate it, and again, we probably shouldn't be seeing this tape. Morally, it's not the right thing to do. We shouldn't be watching. This is a private tape that shouldn't be there. But performance-wise, it's not the greatest thing in the world. It's not, it's not great. But she's sitting there like, it's one of those things where I think that based on the tape that I just saw, Blac Chyna is, she's used to being catered to. I think that's what happens if you're gonna hook up with like because Kim Kardashian's brother is like a fat guy, right? If you're gonna hook up with him, like she's hot, Blac Chyna. So if you're going to be the hot chick that is like banging a guy who's like a fat guy, then he's going to be like a little bit indebted to you, no matter how much money he has. That tape strikes me as Blac Chyna is a person who likes to be catered to in every way, and she feels like if she does the bare minimum in the bedroom, she's doing her part. Now you have to go, let's go. You can buy me things. You can take me places that I want to go. Blac Chyna is in charge of the relationship. And she feels like if she puts in the bare minimum in the bedroom, that that's totally, that she's entitled to be that way. If she puts in the bare minimum in that bedroom, then even Stevens, it is a reciprocal relationship. I can treat you however I want to treat you because I laid there and let you do what you wanted to do. Which is the grossest thing ever. Nobody likes that. That's when hot chicks become not that hot. Every guy that's dated a girl that's out of their league has been in a situation like that. When you date women that are out of your league, there's usually a reason that you get them. There's usually a reason. If there is an amazing looking woman who is just constantly single, a lot of times there's a reason, right? A lot of times maybe they're not a great person, or maybe they do things like that where they're like, oh no, like I don't have to be in a relationship of equals. I'm a star. I'm Blac Chyna. I gave birth to a Kardashian. You think I'm going to sit here? No, I'll give you the minimum. And it's not a sexy thing when you're trying to finish and you're figuring out right before where you should do it. And not in a way like, not in a way that like, oh, here, there, like not in a sexy way, being like, oh, don't make a mess. Don't go over here. Don't make a mess. Don't make a mess. Like, why don't we just stop now? Don't make a mess. That's the least sexy thing in the world. Don't make a mess. That she didn't say don't make a mess, but that was kind of the gist of what I saw in that. Like, oh, don't go on the bed. A little off over here. I don't want to have to wash up too much. If you're hooking up with somebody and they're thinking about what the cleanup is going to be as the act is happening, you're not in a relationship where you're going to have very sexy times. That is not a sexy move at all. Oh wait, can you kind of put that over there so I don't? Yeah, no, I just don't want to mess up because after we're done, I don't want to have to clean up. Oh, could you go? There's some tissues over there. I just don't want to. I mean, washing up is just gross. Like, come on, seriously? We don't have to do this then. We don't have to do this. And I think more guys should be of the school of thought. Like, guys so often are on a quest to hook up. Like, they are hunting to hook up. It is considered a failure if they do not hook up. Men should not be afraid to stop that moment in an instant if things are just not cool. You know what I mean? If the girl, that's part of it. If a girl isn't into it for any reason whatsoever, that's part of the Me Too movement. You should stop. If a girl is like, oh, actually, can you get some tissue over there and maybe finish in that when you're done? When you're done. Whenever she's saying when you're doing that, I thought this was we. What do you mean when you're done? Well, no, I'm doing this for you. Oh, you are. The minute you get the vibe that a woman is doing it for you, like, okay, I'll do this for you, get out of there. Find somebody who actually wants to be there. And not in a way of like you're a dirtbag, in a way of like she's kind of a dirtbag. Because she's not doing this out of the goodness of her heart. If she doesn't want to be there, but she'll do that for you, there's going to be some reciprocation. And that's not the relationship you should be having. It's not worth that. It's not worth it. You should be in a relationship sexually that is reciprocal, where both people are like, I'm into this. And it's possible, I think. I've heard. I would imagine. But that stuff where it's like, she's not into it. She's not into it at all. That it always annoys me. Like, what are we doing this for if you're not into it? Oh, because you wanted it. Oh, cool. Oh, my God. Keep talking like that. So sexy. So sexy. Oh, my God. But yeah, so I see this Blac Chyna thing, and I realize that missing out on this, I mean, thank God that I saw that. Thank God for Eddie A, I believe is what his name was on Twitter. Because I just saw Woe Bundy says, I want Eric Andre to destroy Sam's studio. I would love that. But I mean, it's gross. It's gross. You could do better. People can do better. You get so wrapped up in like, oh, but this is Blac Chyna. Who cares? Who cares? Even a little bit. But yeah, so I guess the lawsuits are being filed on her part and all this stuff. I don't know. But I don't feel any richer for seeing that. I probably could have done without it. We'll all forget this story ever existed within 48 hours, maybe 24 at this point. So it couldn't be less of a big deal. Black Panther I'll probably see next week. I wonder, I saw this tweet go out from Emily Laktawala. And she writes, so I carefully did not buy Black Panther tickets for opening weekend because I did not want to be the white person sucking black joy out of the theater. I think that's what Blac Chyna was doing. What's the appropriate date for me to buy tickets? Is next weekend okay? Is that where we're at? Even if it's a joke. Is that really where we're at? First of all, this idea that Black Panther is the first black superhero really says something about the times that we're living in, because didn't Wesley Snipes do Blade like for 3 movies? It really tells you how focused we are on race in 2017 and 2018. That like this is that big of a move. Maybe it's because there really haven't been a lot of black superheroes since Blade, but we're just race has just become such a giant issue. And I think that ideally, having President Obama in office for 8 years, it was supposed to be this moment where things kind of equal out. But it seems like the people who were supportive of it got so over the top supportive, like this lady. And the people who were against it got so mad about it that we reverted. You know, and I don't know if it's legitimate. That's the pulse on stuff like this. That we honestly have to say, and I'm sure that this woman was not being 100% serious, but she was being somewhat serious. She wasn't totally joking. There is this feeling of like, oh, is Black Panther just for black people? What? No, the whole idea is, the reason Black Panther is important, I think, is because it allows black people, white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, it allows everybody to see a black hero as just a hero in a Marvel movie. It's not supposed to isolate. The whole point is that it's a Marvel movie. It's a mainstream release. It's not a movie that it's not about the Black Panther Party. It's not a movie about that. The reason it's important is because it's a hero who is black, who is just like any other hero. And it allows black kids to go to a movie and be like, oh yeah, I can look up to superheroes the same way my white friends do. And it allows white kids to go to the movies and say like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh yeah, I guess he is black, but black people, white people, of course they're all heroes. You know, the point is that you would be able to go to Black Panther and as a kid, and it shouldn't instill in children. The fact that we're even having this conversation in 2018 is gross, but it should, if we still need to, instill in children that, yeah, it doesn't really matter what ethnicity you are. You can be a superhero. I don't know that children are having trouble with that, to tell you the truth. Not that there shouldn't be a movie like Black Panther, but that maybe to do with it what we're doing with it, it doesn't give us a lot of credit. You know, it doesn't give us a lot of credit, and maybe we don't deserve a lot of credit. But it doesn't give us a lot of credit that it's taken this long and that this is this big of a deal. But maybe it is. You know, as you go down the list, especially in that Marvel universe, the Marvel universe is crazy. It's got movies and TV shows. There's 150,000 different characters. And this is the first one where it's primarily black cast and black heroes and all this stuff. And I do think it's important. And I do think that shouldn't be something that kids think about. And it's probably my white privilege, as it were. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but that's because it's not mine to know, right? That doesn't allow me to, that makes it so that I don't even pay attention to that stuff. But if it helps people realize that black people can be superheroes. First of all, nobody can be superheroes. Nobody can be superheroes, okay? Nobody's got superpowers. So nobody can be superheroes. But there is just as much chance that a black person's going to be a superhero as there is that a white person's going to be a superhero. So if this movie helps that, then good. You know, I think that what's going to be a valuable thing about this movie, and I think that where we should be by now in 2018 is when there's a black lead or a black character that the movie is centered on, or even not, like, movies that star black people should not be just for black people. When you see a star of a movie who is a black man or a black woman, it shouldn't be a movie that you're like, oh, that's a black movie then. Oh, what are we going to hear a story about? The fight for civil rights? Like, no, it's just a movie. The same way if you see a white person starring in a movie, it's a non-issue. Oh, I don't know what this movie's going to be about until I see the trailer. Like, there shouldn't be that subtext with it, and that is probably the valuable thing, right? That's probably the valuable thing. And it's weird, and it does make you question Hollywood, because Blade was an incredibly successful franchise. Spawn, I guess, is a black superhero, but Spawn was not a terribly successful film. It was a successful comic book series, successful action figure line, not a successful film. Blade was a super successful run of movies. But yeah, there really weren't a ton of black superheroes. You know, and Blank Man was a successful black superhero. But there weren't a ton of black superheroes after that in film. And I guess it does speak to the fact that people are afraid to put them in movies. And I think that there is that thing in Hollywood where Hollywood, and I don't even think that this speaks for us. And yes, generic gray couch, Spawn was black, right? Yep, I said that before I saw you, but you did a super chat, so you should. You know, there should have been all these superhero movies, and I don't think it speaks for society necessarily as much as it speaks for Hollywood. And Hollywood is so good at taking issues that exist within Hollywood and sending them right back to us. Like, it's society doing this, not our industry. Society is doing this, not us. I don't know. No. We're the good guys. But are you the good guys? Because the reason that there aren't more black superheroes is because the people who give them money out in Hollywood, because that's how movies get made, is people decide, like, okay, it takes a lot of money to shoot a movie. That's why independent films are independent films and they have to struggle. It takes, especially superhero movies, it takes tens of millions of dollars, which means a studio has to agree to make this movie. Whether it's Marvel or Sony or Fox or DC, you know, any of these studios, they have to go, okay, we will make this movie. Suicide Squad. Okay, Jared Leto's in it. It's like, okay, Will Smith was in that. That's a black superhero, but there's also, you know, Jared Leto and I don't know who else was in that movie. That was a terrible movie. But we could put Margot Robbie in these tiny little shorts and put like tattoos on her and make her be kind of like a skanky bad girl. Okay, yeah, we'll make that movie. That's what that movie was all about. Will Smith happened to be in that movie. The only superhero that Will Smith has gotten to play had to be homeless too. I mean, that's not right. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Robert Stack says, Steel. It's a shit movie, but it still counts. Yeah. Didn't Shaq play Steel? I think he did. Yeah, the Steel was not good. Not good in the struggle for black superheroes. But it's Hollywood that sits there and goes, well, if we make this one about a black superhero, or we make a primarily black cast, I don't know that we're going to get the audience we need. They're all so worried about the audience that they need to get. Opening weekend. We need to hit that mainstream. We need to make, if we're going to sink $50 million into this thing, plus advertising, we need to make 80 opening weekend. Because after opening weekend, we're done. And in order to make $80 million opening weekend, I need to see Superman up there with that square jaw, that wonderful white face. What did you just say? No, I'm a social justice warrior. I'm in Hollywood. It's amazing because on the outside, Hollywood is the most liberal group of people ever. But it's Hollywood that stops the movies from getting made. When Oscar season came up a couple of years ago, and no black people were nominated, or one black person was nominated, or whatever it was, when all the nominees were white, the issue was not, why didn't you nominate more people? The issue was Hollywood doesn't make the movies because Hollywood is scared, because Hollywood is following the money and they're just following what's been done for all these years. Decade after decade after decade. And where we started is not where we are now, right? People can handle movies like Black Panther, but it's sad to me. Because Black Panther comes out, and I'm like, I remember people talking about stuff like this when I was in high school. And that's me. I'm sure there are people way older than me that remembers people talking about it when they were in high school. I'm sure there are people still around that were around in the 60s and the 50s during the civil rights movement. And they were around to see Martin Luther King Jr., and they were around to see Malcolm X. Can you imagine if Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X found out that in 2018, after 8 years of having a black president, it is still this big of a victory to get a movie like Black Panther made? Look, they'd be overjoyed that Black Panther was being made, and I think it's a great thing, but it's embarrassing that it took this long and it's this big of a deal. And the embarrassment doesn't lie. It's unfair to put this on people. It's unfair to put this on the society, movie-going public, alt-right, Twitter trolls, Trump, racism, blah, blah, blah. The buck stops with Hollywood and the movies that they're making. It's Hollywood. And Chosen Knight says, yeah, Hollywood is dumb for trying to make money. I didn't say Hollywood is dumb for trying to make money. Of course, Hollywood should be trying to make money. But Hollywood believes that in order to make money, movies like this have to be few and far between. That's why movies like Black Panther don't get made. So what I'm saying is, anything that sits there and been like, for too long, there haven't been movies like this. It'll be Hollywood every time that goes, for too long, there haven't been movies made like this. And now we're doing it. Because they want to give themselves a pat on the back. When in reality, Hollywood should be taking all the blame for the fact that it took this long for this to get made. It's a miracle that this movie got made. The credit for getting this movie made should be on the individuals who actually got the movie made. The industry should get no credit for getting this movie made, because the industry should be explaining why it hadn't gotten made before, why it takes this long for a black superhero to show up, why it is this big of a deal. It being this big of a deal, one step beyond the joy of this movie getting made is, why is there so much joy in this movie getting made? And that's because of how Hollywood makes movies. In my personal opinion. Yeah. Steve says, I just prefer movies with white people. Okay. Well, that's your issue, Steve. Isaac Martinez says, yeah, forget about Blade and Spawn. Maybe he meant I forgot about Blade and Spawn. Yeah, because they're so few and far between. Because that's what it is. And you can't even say that the marketplace is dictating, because products aren't on the shelves. You know what I mean? It's not the marketplace, it's Hollywood. It's the market dictating, not the marketplace. It's the people that are selling that are dictating what's going on. Because it's not like they've tried this a whole bunch of times and it's failed. They've tried a couple times and it hasn't done that great. Steel. It was a long time ago. Steel failed. Spawn didn't do great in theaters. Blade did awesome. Blade did awesome enough that it's like, oh, we could really do this more regularly. And then they were like, nah. Let's make some more Batman movies. Nah. And by the way, I'm glad they made more Batman movies. It's my favorite things ever. But I think you know what I'm saying. If you're going to make this many superhero movies, it's the same thing over and over again, especially over there in the DC universe. I mean, they have made so many terrible movies, so many, that you would think. I mean, I guess it's the same thing as Wonder Woman, right? They're like, oh, finally the people have spoken. Well, Hollywood finally made a movie where, this woman looks powerful. But it's Hollywood. It's the industry that scolds everybody for behaving badly. It's always been the industry itself. The same way the Me Too movement turns around and it scolds outward. The same way when the topic of racism in Hollywood comes up, goes outward. Well, yeah, that has to change. Society has made this for... No, it's not. It's you guys, man. It's you guys. It's Hollywood. Spawn had a great soundtrack. Luke Cage is amazing. Not Sam SD Mark says Bollywood does it right. Yeah. Bollywood does do it right. I've seen some Bollywood movies. I love... it's not a Bollywood movie, but there's a Bollywood number at the end. Slumdog Millionaire. Who wants to be a millionaire? I love that. There's a couple Bollywood movies I've seen. When I was in Syracuse taking film classes, I was entertained by Bollywood, but I like musicals. So I don't know if Bollywood would translate all that well in these United States of America, but yeah. And Ryan Baldwin says, take that shirt off. Yeah. Well, Gerard Guerrera says Tyler Perry set black film back 20 years. Well, look. Tyler Perry made a lot of money, but yeah, it did, because it was like, okay, black people have their movies over here, and it became, and Tyler Perry does push everything over there into this subsection, but whatever. I mean, he's making money, so who am I to say? Blac Chyna wasn't the only one causing Twitter drama today. I woke up this morning, and I couldn't believe, because I love Barstool's drama. Barstool Sports. I'm friends with a couple of the guys over there. KFC is a great dude. Not if you ask his wife, but KFC has always been good to me. I know JJ is a good dude. Portnoy has done the show on Sirius a few times, and I like him. I just like that Barstool has created this thing. And it goes back to the movies, I guess, that we were talking about, that they created this thing, and it's become a pretty major empire as far as things that get built by individuals. It's become a pretty significant empire. And they're on Sirius now, and they have a big podcast network. They're very, very popular with the stuff that they put out. I was just watching their fight league. I can't remember what it's called, but they bought Portnoy last time he was on the radio show, was talking about how they were buying this fight league. And it's not like it's untrained dudes. It's just like a tough man contest. It's like in No Holds Barred, when the network executives buy the Battle of the Tough Guys, and it's just bar fights on TV. And, the winner is the guy who's the toughest dude. And really, most bar fights are very unskilled. So that's kind of what they say. And I think it was like pay-per-view for like $15 or something like that. And a ton of people bought it. So I love seeing that. But there's always drama with them. My friend Peter Rosenberg has had drama with Barstool before. I followed that anytime, because Barstool doesn't shy away from drama. When there's a second of drama, because they know the formula. It's the formula that's been around for years and years and years. Don't run from the problems. Blow it up. Make it a bigger issue than ever. Because today, with social media and everything, look at this Blac Chyna thing. It makes everybody talk. So Michael Rapaport does this podcast, and he moved his podcast to their network. Kind of amazing that Michael Rapaport still does all this stuff. Like, he's such a loudmouth. He's so outspoken, and I like him. He's done the show a couple of times. I've gotten to know him like a little bit. I like him. I love that he's this outspoken, and he's got opinions on everything, and he's not afraid of anything, and he's still got an acting career. He was just on a Netflix show, Atypical. Oh, which was actually a good show. Actually, I got to write that down. Maybe later this week I'll come back on Sam Roberts Now to talk about that new 90s Netflix show. I watched a couple episodes of it. I've got opinions. But he Michael Rapaport was doing his podcast with Barstool. And I don't know. I don't listen to it. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but I keep up with kind of what's going on. And I guess one of the other guys at Barstool was fighting in this fight league, and Michael Rapaport kept talking about how he was on steroids. The guy's on steroids. The guy's on steroids. Michael Rapaport strikes me as the type of guy who, in wrestling terms, would pretty easily work himself into a shoot. You know what I mean? Like pretty easily. That means that what might start out at first is he would just kind of start a fight that was not real to try to get some attention, just to build up some controversy because he likes to ruffle feathers. But the minute that he started having somebody fight back, the minute maybe he wasn't winning, the minute any of this was going on, it would become real to him. Started as a work, which is fake, ends in a shoot, which is real. He works himself into a shoot. And I think that that's something that anybody that fights a lot, anybody that argues a lot and gets passionate, even if it starts fake, it ends up real and you don't know how you got there. But I guess it's what people like that do. So he's doing this thing and he ends up, they're insulting back and forth. And first he's like talking to this guy from Barstool that he thinks is on Smitty. He's talking to Smitty from Barstool that he thinks is on steroids. And he's like, oh, Smitty's all juiced up. Smitty's all juiced up. And the Barstool guys at first are like kind of arguing back and forth. And I think whoever's running the Barstool Twitter account is like trying to hype it up. But eventually they start going like, okay, shut up. Like, yeah, we got it. Shut up. And KFC says something to Michael Rapaport. And KFC, who's a writer and a big podcaster over there, he did my night show a couple times, KFC Radio. He last year cheated on his wife, and it turned out he cheated on her while she was pregnant. And, when you are in a field where you make fun of people all the time, and you got something like that, it's really bad news. Because not only did you destroy your family, girl just had a kid, you cheated on her while she was pregnant. The word mistress is getting thrown around. You're a guy in your 30s in 2017 at the time. Mistress? How old are you? But mistress is getting thrown around. He's hooking up with this girl in a hotel. So, last thing he wants, but he owned up to it and whatever. It's public information. But Rapaport starts bringing up that he's like, oh, you mean like you cheated on your wife, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, you're on the same podcast network. You both work for Barstool. Why are you bringing up that he cheated on his wife? So it starts to get really weird. And then Rapaport goes, and anybody that, and I get, because I guess the Barstool fans who are called Stoolies they start getting on Rapaport. Because obviously the Stoolies are going to like the people that have been at Barstool forever. Like, the Stoolies like Barstool. Even if Barstool signs big names to do stuff with them, they're going to be loyal to the Barstool brand because that's what brought them to the dance. That's what got them there. So he says something to the effect of, and if you call yourself a Stoolie, you're already an idiot. That whole argument. First of all, I don't think anybody's going to be shocked that I am nowhere near against the idea of people naming their fan base. And I don't think the Not Samsonites think that that's a bad thing either. But I think that the idea that, like, you're an entertainer. Anybody who's in entertainment that thinks it's stupid when fans show loyalty to an entertainer or an entertainment brand must not like entertaining. Like, must not. What are you in this industry for? If it's stupid that a person calls themselves a Stoolie, or it's stupid that a person calls themselves a Not Samsonite, then it's stupid that you're getting up and trying to get people to listen to you. It's stupid that you think that because you talk into a microphone, people should be like, oh, let me just download this. What are we doing here, Rapaport? We're just sitting here talking into a microphone. If it's stupid that people show loyalty to the brands that we build or represent, then we have no business doing what we're doing. I love the Not Samsonites. I love that I would create this brand that, to me, if you really want to dig deep, to me, the Not Sam brand means something. The Not Sam brand is something that I created. Okay, and I know the word brand is such a douchey word. It's not really a brand. It's a philosophy. It's a way of life. It's a culture. It's a collection of content. It's a lot. But to me, it's something that I started. I created it. 15, 14, 19, probably about 15 years ago, 14 years ago maybe, in a Syracuse dorm room, about 14 years ago. I created, 14 years ago, we'll say, I created this Not Sam thing. And it's always been the same thing. I haven't changed it. It's grown, and I've developed, but people have figured it out. See? Nick Sal says, Not Sam here. Drew Kane says, Not Samsonites belong to Titus Worldwide. Worldwide? You're Not Sam. You know? I thought I was a stoolie when little Jimmy lets a hooker shit on his chest. Yeah, that's also a stoolie. Not Sam SD Mark. I like it when people put Not Sam in front of their names. But for the same reason, and everybody, I take you more seriously as a person when you tell me you're not Samsonite. Because I believe in the thing that I've created. That's why I got these pins on notsam.com. I believe in the thing that I've created. And when I meet people who also believe in the thing that I created, I go, you must have a good head on your shoulders. You actually know what's up. When people come to me and they're like, I just don't get the Not Samsonite thing. I don't get the Not Sam thing. Okay, well, goodbye. You might not be that bright of a person then. I don't know. Maybe you'll get it and you'll get there and you'll become, I shouldn't say not bright, developed. You're not quite that developed as a human being yet. You'll get there. You're not that evolved. Being a Not Samsonite is a point of evolution. But same deal with stoolies, right? It's the same deal. I respect that Barstool has fans that want to rally around something. And Barstool is a brand that, if you believe in it, is something that one would rally for, right? It actually, Barstool means something. Barstool stands for something. Whether you agree with it or disagree with it, it stands for something. To me, Not Sam is the same way. It does mean something. You know what Not Sam means? Doing dope shit. Okay? Doing dope shit and just making things happen and doing work and doing that. That's what it means. And doing it yourself. But Michael Rapaport says that it's stupid to call yourself a stoolie. Which, come on, Rapaport, what are you doing? Dave Portnoy wakes up, turns on his Twitter video Sunday morning and fires him on the spot. Fires him. So Rapaport puts this out.
What's up, stoolies? Emergency press conference. Michael Rapaport here. I woke up this morning. Some crazy news. Text message from Dave Portnoy. What can I say? Listen, of all the days to be fired from Barstool, I just wanted to shout out everybody.
So whatever.
Podcast is at number one
for a while, and I guess he's mocking Barstool because they left their thing open. They left their Twitter password the same. So he logged into their Twitter account and posted a video, which is hilarious. I love that Rapaport did that. That's hilarious that he still had the Barstool Twitter account so he could voice. But I mean, he's fighting now, but I don't know what there is to fight for him anymore. And this is the issue that I have. He's going to go take the I Am Rapaport podcast and do it independently, go do it somewhere else, which is fine. That's what he was doing before. But philosophically, if you're saying that it's stupid to call yourself a stoolie, then philosophically it would be stupid to say I'm a Rapaport fan. I'm a rapper of the Rapaport. Rapper the Rapaport Raptor. It'd be stupid to say that. It's the same philosophy as saying you're a stoolie. If you think it's dumb to have fans that are loyal to you, I don't know why you're podcasting. You can get away with that if you're just doing movies and stuff, if you're just doing TV shows. But if you think it's dumb that fans are loyal to something, like you can't do anything in entertainment where it's going to take a degree of loyalty, which is all this is, right? That's all this is. So yeah, they're saying it's a publicity stunt, which it could be. Could be a publicity stunt, but Portnoy went on TMZ. Everybody's saying it's not a publicity stunt. And I don't know. If it is a publicity stunt, that's fine. But I even if it's a publicity stunt, Barstool is going to be damaged for it, unless something like amazing happens after. Unless there's a giant reveal here, Barstool does not stand to benefit. Barstool stands to benefit less from this being a publicity stunt than Blac Chyna does from her sex tape coming out. Blac Chyna and her sex tape, better publicity than Barstool faking a fight with Michael Rapaport. I think so. We'll see, though. It remains to be seen. Okay, let's take a look at what some of these super chats have been while the show is on. I want it. Robert Stack, I gave you your credit, I believe. Generic Couch, thank you. Robert Stack with another one. So you can make every Westchester Poughkeepsie show. I don't know what that means, but I feel you. Eddie A, thank you for tweeting the thing. Malcolm from the North, thank you. Not Sam SD Mark, you're always great. Not Sam Dapper Dan. Sam, if my wife doesn't change to a Not Sam name, should I move out? Yeah, look. Yeah, probably. If my wife didn't show loyalty to the Not Sam brand, I would judge her pretty severely. If my wife was like, I don't get it. What's this Not Sam stuff? And it doesn't make any sense to me. I'd be like, I don't know that we should be together anymore. And also, I would think you could win custody of the kids. If you have kids, I would think that you could win custody if you explain to the judge, like, she won't even change her Twitter name to Not Sam. Also, if you tell your wife, look, I'm going to move out if you don't change your Twitter name to Not Sam, and she's still not willing to change her Twitter name, or YouTube name, or whatever she wants to change, then how much does she value the marriage? That's what I'd sit there and say. How much do you really want to be in this thing if you won't even do a simple thing like change your Twitter name to something that it should be anyway? There should be a Not Sam in front of your Twitter name, your YouTube name, all that stuff. Let the people know. My wife, let the people know. Not Sam Bareback says, hopefully Rapaport gives Blac Chyna herpes. Yeah, that's another thing. You can't make fun of guys for infidelity if you get cold sores. Even if they're non-herpetic. Just not something you can do. Even if you've never given another person herpes in your life, you can't make fun of somebody for cheating on their wives if you have a cold sore. Because herpes is worse than infidelity. Infidelity goes away. Infidelity you can recover from. Herpes is forever. Sorry, you can get remarried and be a good husband. If you have herpes, you're just going to have herpes. Let's see. My wife isn't allowed to blink during Sam. That's very, very good. All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap this thing up. We got to a couple of things. I do want to talk about Todd Green says Sam loves his wife and her guide dog, which is probably the best Sam Roberts' ugly joke I've ever heard. Way to go. Because it took me a second. I was like, her guide dog? Oh, she's blind, because that would explain why she married me. Fabulous. Fabulous. A cold sore is in the herpes class. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for being a part of this thing. By the way, speaking of my wife, I did make her sit down and watch some bad wrestling. Uncensored 95 to be exact. If any of you guys are wrestling fans, Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast is now a part of Stitcher Premium. What that means is the wrestling podcast itself stays exactly the same. Every Thursday morning, the Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast drops as usual. But over on Stitcher Premium, if you sign up for Stitcher Premium at Stitcher.com/notsam, you can have access to the Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast ad-free, so all the ads are taken out. And every other Monday, I'm going to be doing a show called Captive Audience, where I make somebody who doesn't necessarily watch wrestling all the time watch some of the worst wrestling on the network. I made my wife sit down and watch the entire uncensored 95 WCW pay-per-view. So what you can do is turn it on the WWE network, you can watch uncensored 95, and you can listen to me try to explain and justify the things that are happening on that absurd pay-per-view to my wife, who is completely unfamiliar with all of it. But that bonus show is exclusive to Stitcher Premium. So go to Stitcher.com/notsam if you are at all interested in that. It's like $35 a year, very, very cheap, and you'll get access to that as well as everything else Stitcher Premium has to offer through other shows. So yeah, or if you don't like the wrestling podcast, don't buy it at all. Eventually on YouTube, no, it will be exclusive to Stitcher Premium. Thank you all for being a part of this thing. Yeah, your poor wife is right, Chosen Knight. Your poor wife. That's what I made her do on a Saturday night. It's incredible. See if you can get some phone calls with fans happening, Sam. That's my next project. I'm going to work on getting some phones in this studio because I think it would be fun. I think that I'm very, very eager to do that. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Sam Roberts Now on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to get updated each and every time this here show goes live. It's only going to go live when Sam Roberts Now is now. Remember, You got 5 styluses. You might as well use them. Have a good night, everybody. I appreciate you being you. All right? See you later.